Alright, third time's a charm, I think. Tried recording this fucking video 3 times, didn't like the result. Going for it again. So this is my last day in America. Going to South Korea. Tomorrow, I'm leaving at 3 in the goddamn morning, and I will arrive at New York at 7, because the flight's not till 5, and I'm an hour and a half away from Raleigh, North Carolina, which is where I'm leaving. And then I have to hang out in New York until 1 in the fucking afternoon, I think. And then I'm going to Incheon, then... Is it Incheon? I don't know, I can't get clarification on the pronunciation. I'm sure I'll learn. And then I'm going to Ginpo, and then Busan, and then Changwon is where I'll be living. Got a job there in March. Took something like 6 months to get all the paperwork together. Paperwork to get your visa to go to South Korea is a nightmare. You have to get your degree. You need a 4-year degree. They will not hire you if you do not have that. A teaching license is a plus, which I have. I am licensed to teach English in North Carolina, which is a thought. I can't believe they would hire me. I wouldn't hire me to teach children. That's anyway, so you have to get what they call apostilled, which, as I say, I'm a high school English teacher. I didn't know what that word fucking meant, but apparently what it means is it's demonstrating that you got a copy made. And then a travel agent, because it's different, it seems like it will be just a notary, but it is not. It is slightly different. And not every notary can do an apostille. In fact, the UPS stores in North Carolina cannot, I think, because it must have cost them an extra $5 to get that license, so they said, nah, we won't do that. So I had to get to a travel agent to have it apostilled. I'd have my degree apostilled, and my teaching license apostilled, and an FBI background check. Now, funny story about the FBI background check is I thought I had to, I don't know, I figured, like, you gotta go to a police station, you gotta go to a local FBI headquarters, I don't know, do they have those? And then they said, no, in fact, all you have to do is we will mail you, or you can print out the kit. So I printed it out, and they go, okay, take your own fingerprints. And so I took my own fingerprints and mailed that in. And they're like, oh yeah, these fingerprints don't have any crimes associated with them. And I'm thinking, if you have a criminal record and your goal is to get to South Korea, wouldn't you just lie? Like, I could take my mom's fingerprints and be like, there you go, there's my fingerprints. And she hasn't committed a crime. It seems ridiculous to me, but they trusted that. I don't know. I did have an unqualified in criminology travel agent look at my fingerprints that I took myself, so I guess that's legit then. So then you have to mail that off to about 10,000 different people. The FBI takes 6 weeks to check over your completely legit and not forgeable in the slightest fingerprints. Then they mail something back saying, hey, you didn't commit any crimes, so good work you. But you can get those wrong. You need like a general purpose background check. There's a specific background check that you have to specify that is not what you want. The color of the paper was very important. I read online. If it's pink, you're bad. You've done it wrong. You want yellow. So you get that. Then you can either start applying directly to school. Actually, you can do that before. I wouldn't recommend it, because the first thing the school's going to ask is if you've gone through our bureaucratic nightmare, and if your answer's no, then they're going to go, well, get started then, asshole. You can apply through a recruiter. There's a lot of mixed things online about recruiters. I recommend doing it, because it worked for me, I don't know. Met a very nice recruiter. She had a bunch of jobs. I am sincerely sorry about your penis, friend. Anyway. The joke is that was a big truck and the guy must have a small dick, or had lost his dick. Not that I just saw a guy with his dick hanging out outside, although that would be the topper. That would be like, well, that's the last thing I saw in America driving around, was a guy with his dick hanging out. Sorry. Anyway, so I went through a recruiter. You don't have to. There's mixed things online. I would give it a shot. It seems to have worked for me. I got a job through one. It might suck and I'll never use a recruiter again. I don't know. We'll see. So I got a job. That was in March, and then they're like, when can you be here? And I said, That's the thing. They ask you, like, when do you want to come? And you don't want to be like, well, tomorrow, because they might say, all right, asshole, get on a plane, and you're not ready in the slightest. But you don't want to be like, well, I'm not really that ready, so next year. So I was like, June, at the end of the school year, because, I'm a substitute teacher now, so I said, that sounds good. And they're like, all right, how about May 20? Late May is what they said. And I said, okay, that sounds perfect. So that's what I did. I am teaching 10 and 11-year-olds in a Hagwon. That's their word for like a cram school. It's like an academy that you go to after school to learn English, speech in particular, idiomatic phrases and things like that, because apparently how it works in South Korea is the English education is basically non-verbal. You just don't communicate. You just work out of a workbook, which, I guess is an adequate way to learn grammar, but you're certainly not going to learn English. You're not going to learn any language that way. Least of all English, which is, not only is it completely unlike the language they speak in Korea, obviously, it's, English is a very a large lexicon. There's a lot of words in English that mean the same thing. Or synonyms, as we call them. So that's a very poor way to learn that. And the pronunciation's completely crazy. Like, you just have to know how to say some words. There's no way you'd guess from the spelling, because the spelling changes constantly. Although I'm learning that's a trait that we share with Korean, so whatever. What the hell else? So, the visa is another great story, another bureaucratic nightmare. Once they hire you, you have to fill out 10,000 forms, you have to sign a contract, then you have to mail a bunch of shit to South Korea directly for the school to look over. The school passes it on to the local, and I would assume the federal government? I'm sure they have a federal government. Then you have to mail your passport and cash or money order. I just sent them cash because, it already looks like a crime. It might as well be a full crime at that point. So I'm at the UPS store stuffing 20s and my passport into an envelope with a self-addressed stamped envelope already in the envelope that I was mailing to them. And I said, here, can you mail this? And the UPS guy's just looking at me like, he's like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I know what I'm doing. So you mail him your fucking passport, and then it was a brief amount of time. As I said, I'm in North Carolina. I mailed it to Georgia, which is where one of the South Korean consulates is, and then less than a week later, I get it back with a visa in it, and so that's my visa now. I was going to make a bunch of videos about my adventures in America, and then I realized that's really kind of self-indulgent, and I don't do anything worth noting. The whole point is I want to show the transition from, America to South Korea and what it's like living in South Korea, because there are a lot of videos on YouTube, but it's all South Korean people just showing you shit, and it's not like, I wanted to show the foreign perspective, so I wanted to show America and then show South Korea and how I'm adapting to it, but then I realized no one wants to see that shit because I am fucking boring, and it's really just going to be the South Korean countryside that's going to be my redeeming, that's what's going to get me the YouTube money. Driving by a place I used to get tacos a lot. Hello, Rio Grande. I will miss you. I'm on my way to my friend's house. I left a fairly valuable item that's small over there. It makes it sound like it's fucking drugs. It's not drugs. So I'm picking that up. Spent the last few weeks with my parents. I'm an only child. My mom's very sad to see me go. It's been kind of holding her together in whatever way I can. The hell else? I don't know, I make it sound like it was such a big deal, and it was, but saying it was just a bunch of paperwork, but it was a lot of paperwork that took a very long time to get finished. So it was intense. Really glad to be doing this. I'm very excited. I'm also really nervous. At this point, it's weird. I feel like once I'm there, I feel like I'll adapt. I already have a friend there that I met on the internet because that's safe. But hopefully he seems like a cool dude. Hopefully hopefully we'll get it done. I want to learn Korean while I'm there, of course. I don't want to be one of those people that just exists in a bubble of English, which is a common problem because enough people speak English and enough things in South Korea are English that you can avoid getting out of your comfort zone and just never learn the language or adapt to the culture in the slightest. I don't want to be one of those people. It's really easy to do that. I can see why, because it's scary going outside your comfort zone, and also I at least am supremely lazy, so it'll be easy just not to do that, but I'm gonna really force myself. Anyway, I am here at the apartment. I think I'll make a video coming back continuing this insane rant that no one's ever going to listen to, so I'll see you then.